What's up, guys? Blade Master here, and you're watching the Wolf of Dreamers Total War channel. And this is yet another Total War Rome 2 battle replay. And again, this is another match played between Pirro and I. And in this one, I've taken Egypt, he's taken Macedon, and we're fighting in the Dolmens of Karnak. This is not the most balanced map, but I set it to different directions, and I thought that we would be fighting like on the bottom, just for a change. But he actually did deploy up top, so I had to move my units up top to try and get an even engagement. Because if I stayed at the bottom, he'd get an easy downhill charge on me. But let's take a look at my build. I've brought a total of 4 Ptolemaic cav, 2 over here and 2 over here, and an African War Elephant Gen, and that'll be it for my cavalry. I've also brought 3 total light peltas, or is it just 2? Yeah, it's 2, I guess. 2 light peltas, a total of 3 thorax swords. Where are they? Where's the third one? There was a third one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the third one's over here. 3 thorax swords, 1 Sobek cultist behind them, or who would eventually be behind them, and Egyptian infantry, the one for 200, and finally I brought 2 mercenary Kushite shield women. So these are very, very, very capable spearmen or spearwomen, and I would dare say that they're among the top cheap spearwomen that you can get, or spear units that you can get. And it's a very big bonus that they've been added to Egypt. And frankly, I would think that this makes Egypt a very powerful faction in the game. Not as strong as the Galatian Royal Guard spams of old, but still a very capable faction. And the reason why I say that is because that they have 20. First of all, they've got 20 bonus versus large, but that's okay. I mean, all cheap spear units have that bonus. But on top of that, they've got pretty decent melee attack. Their weapon damage is okay. Let's take a look at the armor piercing. Armor piercing is 8, which is actually quite good. But here's the kicker. They have cavalry counter tactics, and they're the only unit or for like the more civilized quote unquote factions that have cavalry counter tactics. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's a massive boost for spear units that they get against cavalry. So it just gives them a big boost in melee attack. So for the cheaper units, usually this bonus is even higher. So you could see on like Levy Freeman units and stuff like that, a total melee attack of like 85, 90 maybe, something like that. Just because, or sorry, the bonus versus large is really increased. But yeah, it ends up being the same thing. Like they turn into like killing machines, and their low melee attack is really compensated that way. So let's take a look at his build now. He's brought a very weird build, not a weird build, but a very unexpected build. And I think he brought this because he was expecting me to go with pikes again. I have a feeling that's why he went for it. Anyways, he's brought a total of 4 Thessalian cav, 2 on his left, 2 on his right, and 2 Aspis cav, Aspis companions. He's also brought 2 militia hoplites, who've got some experience in them, and a total of 4 thorax swords. I want to say, yeah, 4 thorax swords and 2 royal peltas. So an incredibly strong sword regiment compared to mine, which is very weak actually. Just 3 thorax swords, and I've got some Sobek cultists to put some fear in. But it really depends on how well my light peltas do, and of course how well my African War Elephants does, because that's a big bonus. But over here, let's take a look at the action. I charge his Thessalians with my Ptolemaic cav, and these Ptolemaic cav are just going to smash through them because they're very, very strong, among the strongest shock cav in the game, I would say. So with the charge bonus of trample, they get 95 along with their incredible melee attack. So I do the same thing over here, but a bit better over here because I managed to engage all of his cav, which is very good for me. I don't want his Aspis companions to wreak havoc among my infantry. Now I immediately support the right flank with my spearwomen or shield women, and they will die quickly, but they will also inflict a lot of casualties quickly. But over here, I'm just catching some of his militia hoplites and his troops with my Egyptian infantry, and then immediately pulling my light peltas to just shower fire on one of these cab flanks so that I can destroy his cab as soon as possible. Because his infantry right now wouldn't be much of a threat. His militia hoplites are not going to stand up to my elephants, and this is just a big just a big prize for them because they will just smash through enemy infantry like nothing. And Royal Pelters don't have the, despite the fact that they have a lot of melee attack, they don't have a lot of armor or like melee defense that would warrant them lasting a while against elephants. Now I've got my super cultists behind, and here I do a pretty interesting tactic. I start shooting flaming javelins on Pirro, and the reason for that is, first I wanted them to go amok because they were getting bogged down, and with the run amok thing, they don't care, like they lose units, but they'll just keep running around and keep knocking units down that way. And second is, combined with flaming shot, you can see that their morale has really gone down by quite a bit, and I'm getting some rear charges with some of my freed up Ptolemaic cab too. So I'm just trying to stack up as many fear effect or fear penalties as possible in as short a time. So you can see a lot of his units are starting to chain route. And here I've got a Ptolemaic cab free, which I'm not microing very well, but I would want to do this. I would want to like turn around and rear charge his Aspis cab because they're pretty vulnerable to enemy cavalry. As I'm sure you guys know this by now, but they have sword and shields compared to other cavalry who have spears. And in a shock cab case, they have serious suspect. But here you can see my elephants are starting to run amok, and they're just plowing through all of his infantry, but this is the downside. They came really close to my Ptolemaic camp, and I believe they actually took out some of my units as well. Here you can see that they are going to charge right into my Ptolemaic camp. That is not good. That is not good for me at all. You can see that poor dude just like died. His own general can't control his unit, his bodyguard unit. But I think all in all, this game is going in my favor. I do eventually rear charge that Aspis cav, but it's looking much better on the infantry front. To be frank, I finally put cavalry counter tactics with my mercenary Kushite shield women, and here I've just engaged one of his thorax swords with my shield women, and I'm going to come in for a rear charge with my Ptolemaic cav. But it's basically done right now. His Aspis cav is done, and that's the thorax sword is the sole remaining member of his army. Now let's see, they have to pass around the stone, the dolmen or whatever it's called, and bam! Final rear charge on that thorax swords, and that's it for this game. Very nice battle, close battle. Um, the fact that I had to run up the hill initially meant my soldiers were quite tired. So something that he could have done to potentially capitalize on that would be to attack or like rush my units as soon as possible. But I have a feeling that he didn't do that because he's just a nice guy, and he probably knew that my units were tired, so he didn't want to create an unfair fight, I guess. So, taking a look at the unit stats, I think my African war elephants did really well, but also my light pelters did quite well. I think that despite the penalties of your unit of your elephant running amok, I think in this situation it was a good idea to do that because there were just so many of his units bunched up that my elephants just running around would kill so many of his units. And if they happen to get bogged down, the high melee attack from these royal pelters could prove pretty devastating. So all in all, with the fear stack and stuff like that, I think shooting javelins, flaming javelins on them was a pretty good idea. Other than that, my shield women, one of them did really well. The one that I set on the enemy cab very early, but the other one I didn't really micro that well. I was quite sleepy actually when we played this game, and so was he. And yeah, I didn't really move these guys too well. But that's the end of this game, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Peace.